Honorable Deputy President Rigati Gachagua, Your Excellencies, dear participants. A little more than a year ago, when Russia launched its brutal and unprovoked military aggression against my country, many politicians and experts predicted that Ukraine will be crushed in few weeks. But we are still standing as free and independent nation, and our resolve to bring aggressor to justice and liberate all the occupied territories is unbending. Today, historic day, as we gather to mark the arrival to Kenya of the first ship with 25,000 metric tons of Ukrainian wheat procured from Mombasa sister city Odessa, with grain from Ukraine humanitarian program, which has been initiated by the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, in November last year. The program is aimed to feed 5 million people in Africa and Asia during this year. For now, 30 countries have joined the Grain from Ukraine initiative, which have already raised around $200 million. We have already sent 140,000 tons of Ukrainian grain to countries which need it most. Shipment to Kenya was made possible due to consistent and steadfast efforts of World Food Programme and 8 European donor countries represented today by distinguished ambassadors or diplomats. We would like to thank you all for joining hands and making this great contribution to the drought response efforts of the Kenyan government possible, as millions of people in Kenya are suffering from extreme food insecurity due to severe drought and galloping food prices. Prior to 2022, Ukraine was one of the main suppliers of grain for the World Food Programme and the fourth largest grain exporter globally. Our agriculture was heavily damaged by Russian invasion. Missile strikes and shelling by Russian troops has destroyed dozens of farms, stocks of food and seed, silos, warehouses, oil deposits, agricultural machinery and equipment. Millions of hectares of agricultural land are occupied or mined. Our farmers suffer from lack of fertilizers, market volatility, low purchasing prices and broken logistic chains. Notwithstanding these difficulties, we are determined to remain a guarantor of global food security and feed the people of the world. Even as our own people are bleeding and dying, it's not only our responsibility, but also sincere feeling from our hearts. Since in 1932 and 1933, Ukraine suffered from Holodomor, death by hunger, imposed by our country by Stalin regime. Despite all the Russian pressure, Black Sea grain corridor brokered by the UN Secretary General and President of Turkey on July 22 last year continues its operation. It is important to keep this food lifeline intact and fast. Because of the inspection delays by the Russian team in Joint Coordination Center in Istanbul, export of agricultural products by the grain corridor does not exceed 3.4 million tons per month, despite our ability to give the world 6 million tons monthly. As a result of Russian actions, there are constant queues of more than 100 vessels, and Ukrainian ports face the problem of shortage of new fleet for loading. We ask the Kenya government and all our partners to continue speaking in one voice in support of Ukraine, demanding removal of obstacles for the functioning of Black Sea grain corridor, and restoring peace in Ukraine based on the principles of the UN Charter and UN General Assembly's resolution adopted on February 28, 2023, and supported by 141 countries, including Kenya, which demands that Russia immediately, completely, and unconditionally withdraw all its military forces from the territory of Ukraine. Today's event gives us a beam of hope. Hope that we can together solve our problems and make this world a better place. So let us celebrate this success and continue working hard to bring relief to those who are desperate, to those who suffer, and in need of our help. Thank you very much for your attention.